good. So, welcome. This is the Red Hook Town Board meeting of February 11th, 2020. Would you be kind enough to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Thank you very much. And Jordan, for the folks at home, if you'd be kind enough to pan over and they can take a look at what we'll be discussing tonight. We are expecting to have a very brief meeting this evening. Just a couple of pieces of business we have. Okay, very good. It is the first meeting of the month, and at every first meeting, provided technology will cooperate, which it doesn't seem to want to do. There we go. We have the supervisor's report, and this is a report of the condition at the end of a particular period. And we'll see if it wants to load it all.
It's already signed.
There we go. Very good. So this period is for January 1st through January 31st of 2020. And we started the month off with an opening balance of $6,610,000. We had receipts of $652,167, disbursements of $1,038,903 for a remaining balance of $6,223,626. You have in your packet both budget adjustments, and we'll be talking about one more budget adjustment when we go to the award for the contract on the ADA accessible work at Rec Park East Phase 2. But you have the other budget adjustments prepared by Ann Conway in your packet. If you have any questions about those, please let me know. Also, a schedule of the CPF, Community Preservation Fund numbers, the balance now being approximately $1.6 million. That will be going down because we have a scheduled closing this week, later this week, on those properties with Winnicke around the Sauk Hill watershed area there, the 300 plus acres next to our Rec Park West property. So that's very exciting. You have two variance reports. One is for the period of January, and we continue to update the December report with any remaining bills that come in for that period. So both of those are in your packet as well. Are there any questions about any of the materials? All right, if not, is there a motion to accept the supervisor's report?
So moved.
And budget adjustments? Second. And budget adjustments, yes, first and
Yes.
second?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We also have Sue's Town Clerk's monthly report. Sue?
Monthly report for January 2020. Total local shares remitted to supervisor as town revenue, $5,486.77. Amount remitted to New York Ag and Markets for their spay and neuter program, $69. Amount remitted to New York State Department of Health For marriage licenses, $67.50. An amount remitted to New York State Environmental Conservation, $552.73. For total state and local revenue of $6,176. And this is pursuant to Section 27, Sub 1 of the Town Law. I hereby certify that foregoing is a full and true statement of all fees and monies received by me, Sue McCann, in connection with my office. And that's it.
Good. Thank you very much, Sue. Is there a motion to accept the clerk's report?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. So we're right on schedule for a public hearing, a 7:35 public hearing. It's on a proposed water district rate for the period beginning April 1st, 2020. And we have with us our water board chairperson, Hank Ben Paris. Sue, if you'd be kind enough to read the notice of public hearing.
What? Never mind. Notice of public hearing, Town of Red Hook. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook on February 11th, 2020 at 7:35 p.m. local time at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York, to hear all interested persons on proposed modification of the water rates and charges for Water District Number 1. The Red Hook Water Board has recommended modification of the water rates and charges to increase the minimum rate from $42.74 to $44.88 for up to 9,000 gallons, and from $5.20 to $5.46 per 1,000 gallons over 9,000, as further set forth in the schedule on file with the town clerk. All interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard in person or by directing comments in writing to the town board, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. All reasonable accommodations will be made for persons with disabilities. In such a case, please notify the town clerk in advance at the above address or by phone 845-758-4606 so that arrangements can be made. Please take further notice that a copy of the proposed schedule of water rates is available for review at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. By the order of the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook dated January 14th, 2020, Sue McCann, Town Clerk, Town of Red Hook. And this went to the Poughkeepsie Journal, was posted at the Town Hall, posted on the website, and sent to the two villages.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Sue. For the folks at home, the proposal from the Water Board is to increase the rates by 5%. That's the information that Sue just read as part of the public hearing. And the idea being, Hank, and please correct me if I've got this wrong, is so that we can put away a little bit each year so that when we have to do infrastructure work, we're in a better position to do that and avoid any kind of a large increase at that time. Is that succinctly capture the...
That's accurate.
Okay, very good. So at this time I would open the public hearing. Would anybody like to make any comments? Linda, thank you.
Linda Keeling. I guess I have more of a question. Will Bard College, who also uses that water source, be paying the same rate, or does it pay a higher rate because it's a commercial venture?
Okay.
They the same rate as people in the system. That was set up and agreed to when they provided funding for about half of the cost of the storage tank.
Okay.
Okay, there was a document of understanding, and that set those rates. They pay the same.
Okay.
They have tried, pursued getting a lesser rate because of the volume of water they use, but we haven't.
No. They should pay the same rate or a higher rate.
Okay. Very good. Any other comments during the public hearing on this topic? Okay, well, thank you very much, Hank, and please thank everybody on the Water Board for their good work, and certainly this makes sense to to make sure we keep our funds robust for the future.
And thanks to the town board for your support.
Always. That's the easy part. Thank you. Okay, at this time I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there?
move.
All right.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is announcements, and speaking of water, I just had one announcement. As you know, we've had a very dedicated group of individuals and public members as part of the Sawkill Watershed Community Group, and they meet monthly, often at the Elmendorf Inn, and this month's meeting is February 19th. That would be next Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I thought it might be interesting for some folks, Hank, and folks in the public, and Bill, where are you? Mr. Hamill, I thought you might be interested in this one. It's a discussion of estrogen disrupting chemicals in local waters and the role of community science and environmental decision making. And that's again Wednesday, February 19th, 7 p.m. at the Elmendorf Inn right there next door to Stewart's. The discussion will be led by Emily White, who's a visiting research associate at BARD with the Center for Study of Land, Air, and Water, and research associate at Hudsonia. She will discuss the citizen science program at BARD. She will also allow an opportunity to have the community join in the discussion about what's possibly in our watershed. I don't know if you folks happen to notice, but the village of New Paltz had to shut down their water supply because of petroleum smell that was emanating out of the water. And so it's a cautionary notice for all of us that it's a precious resource and we have to do everything we can to maintain it. So that's next Wednesday, the 19th, 7 p.m. at the Elmendorf. That's the only announcement I have. Does anybody else have any announcements? Okay, if not, we can move right into the public comment period. Would anyone in the public like to make any comments? Linda?
Linda Keeling. I had sent to you all a lengthy resume. Also didn't have some of the other things that I was involved in. I haven't heard anything that you've received it or will be acted upon. I was a member of the St. Margaret's Committee from 2009 till the death of our chairman in 2015, and I'm hoping that I can get back on, get the work done. We started some good things. We need to finish to make that building accessible to people, not a vacant building.
Thank you very much, Linda, and we appreciate it. We thank you, and we did receive your resume, and we've received many resumes and are going through them and trying to figure out the vacancies that exist with the the committee members and who wants to be on it. Okay, very good. Any other comments? If not,
I have public comment.
yes, Teresa. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Emily Sattler. Am I speaking correctly here? Can you hear me? I don't know if this is a public comment or if it's more in line with the kind of thing we were just talking about. But I'm fairly new in Red Hook. I moved up here from New York City. I attended, well, I should say by background, one of my interests in coming tonight and trying to be more participatory in Red Hook generally is that I am currently hosting visitors to my home through Airbnb. So I went to Mr. O'Neill's committee a couple of weeks ago, as did my husband. And I since came and spoke with Mr. McKeon. I had missed the hearing or the public meeting, I think, in October. One thing that concerned me after I left that meeting with Mr. O'Neill's group, very ably chaired, was to see the lack of women on this committee, and to see the lack of what I would guess I might call new blood on the committee. And I don't just mean people in agreement with me on this particular issue, but just in general. It struck me as a fairly parochial thinking group, if that's the right way to think of it. And so I delivered my resume as well to Sue McCann. I came and talked to Mr. McKeon, and I just would like to invite you to consider, as we have these openings on committees, to invite some new people to speak and to be part of the process so that it doesn't feel so alien, maybe if that's the right word, or locked to voices that are important in the community as well. So that was my reason for coming tonight, and that's all.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, and yes, we've solicited, we really would like to get more participation in our committees. We have some vacancies. We have a dedicated group of individuals who populate those committees, but yes, we love the idea of having new energy and some new participation.
Okay. Maybe you can share, this is being taped, this meeting, maybe you can share a little bit about how that process works to put people on these committees and who makes these decisions so that there's a little more transparency than I'm aware of. And again, I'm new, so
Yeah.
I'm somewhat ignorant.
Yeah, so we invite everyone to, if they're interested, to send a letter of interest or an email of interest. If they have a resume, that's terrific, why they're interested in a particular committee or boards. And then oftentimes it's the town board appoints individuals to particular committees or boards, but we try to take a look at the resumes and see who might be a good fit for particular vacancies that exist. Each year in the beginning of the year, we go through sort of a twofold process. One is we check in with the current members of the committees and boards to see if they're still interested in staying on. And then as we find out more information and we gather the resumes, we take a look at where those pieces of the puzzle, if you will, might work out in a beneficial way to both the individual and to the committee or boards.
And what's your timetable for making these?
We don't set a
decisions?
timetable, oftentimes because, that process, we may invite somebody to meet with a committee chair. Certainly if it's one of our boards, there's a process for educating them. Let's say, for example, the planning board, we have letters from individuals who might be interested in joining that. So what we'd want to do before we would appoint somebody either as a full member or an alternate is to see if we can get them up to speed on all the work that the town has done related to planning and zoning.
Right.
And then, have them meet and understand what the requirements might be for being a part of one of those boards, so, yeah.
So I hope, Mr. Testa, Mr. Neal, Ms. Kane, Mr. Hamill, and you, Bob, I hope that you understand that my presence in coming tonight wasn't in any way to be confrontational or to be a difficult, gadfly kind of person. That's not really my background at all. I'm on the faculty at Bard, and, well, I guess that could be seen as a somewhat gadfly body sometimes. But in any event, I'm really interested in this town. It's the second time I've lived here. Or had a house here. I live here full time now. I'm actively involved at Alana. I'm working on the capital campaign there and so forth, and I just would really love the chance to be involved in my community. So I hope that will be taken. Plus Mr. O'Neill's super funny, so it's fun to work with him more closely.
Anytime you want to go.
Okay, yes, and all of our meetings are open meetings.
I know, but
The
I'm
publics
talking
are
about
allowed to-
having, more than just sitting there, just.
Yeah, that particular task force actually has, some of our boards have a design of who should be on those task force.
Right.
So the intermunicipal task force was supposed to have representatives from both the communities and the individual municipalities, either their planning boards or town boards or village boards. And so that's part of the composition, but yeah, we have been talking about getting new members to that.
Excellent.
So we appreciate that.
And when do you let people know? I know you said you haven't made the decisions, but is there a formal process if, like, I've put in my informal application, am I informally notified or not notified?
No, you will receive a letter.
Okay,
A letter will come out of town hall saying, congratulations and thank you. You've been appointed to this committee that you've expressed interest. Yeah,
okay.
when the time comes. We appreciate it. Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Emily. Okay. Any other public comments, Teresa?
I invited the highway crew here tonight to listen to my public comments because I think that we should all be on the same page. So I will just start with, this month marks I'm Teresa Burke, the highway superintendent. And this month marks the 2-year anniversary of the unionizing of the highway department crew. The town is still working on an initial contract, and I think it's important for the town board to understand the catalyst behind that decision. Each person on the highway department staff was hired with a fully paid benefit package, including medical, dental, and vision insurance. There was no formal contract, but benefits were outlined in the employee handbook. There's a general understanding that when one is employed by a municipality, that the pay rate may not be comparable to the prevailing wage rates in the private sector, but the economic impact to income was offset by the financial security of benefit funding, up to and including retirement. In 2010, the nationwide economic crunch resulted in suspension of raises for all staff. Prior to that, it was not uncommon for a town employee to have a 4 to 6% increase in yearly wages. With no contract in place, the staff had to abide by the wages set by the yearly budget process. They did so willingly, because their benefits were intact. Eventually, raises were reinstated at 2% increments. 2 years ago, on January 24, 2018, at a public meeting, the town board members were presented with a series of cuts to the medical benefits packages of the full-time employees. If adopted, these proposals would have created an immediate reduction in each person's take-home pay. Even with the 2% raise, the staff would be making less money going forward. After discussion at the meeting, 1 week was granted for employees to explore other insurance options outside of the town network or take the cut in pay. The lack of advance notice of the proposed cuts and the potential for financial hardship caused the highway staff to unionize in order to have the right to negotiate with the town board. Union contracts are common in municipalities and have proven to benefit both employers and employees. Expectations and requirements are laid out ahead of time. The contract becomes an outline for future hires and a tool for disciplinary procedures. Benefits and raises are described for the contract term and are agreed on by both sides. The labor pool for municipal jobs is shrinking. A good union contract serves as a tool to attract future hires. I have not participated in the creating of the union contract for the town highway department, but I do have extensive experience as an employer. For 25 years before this career, I had many dedicated and long-term employees. My formula was simple. Make sure your staff is going forward financially, consider all of their needs, and respect the fact that each individual and position is important to the success of the whole. Over the past few years, the town of Red Hook has become financially stable, and reserve funds have doubled since I first assumed responsibility for the highway department. The town has expanded the rec park facilities, invested in money-saving utility upgrades, and has increased contributions to many programs for the residents. It is critical that the town also think about how to best retain the experienced and dedicated employees of the highway department. The highway department provides necessary services to the town residents. The town is fortunate to have a hardworking crew, and the importance of the collective knowledge of the highway department should not be overlooked. It is imperative that we have a union contract that recognizes the value of the town's current crew and the contributions and sacrifices that each individual makes as an employee of the highway department. I'm calling on the town board to collaborate and move forward to an agreement that is beneficial for the highway crew. By doing this, you will be ensuring the safety of the town roads and in turn, its residents. Thank you for your time. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Okay, any other public comments? All right. If not, we're going to jump right on into the first item of the agenda, which is continuing work on reorganization. I don't know if you've had a chance to check in with your committees and boards to get any updates on vacancies that might exist. We do have our updated schedule. Thank you, gentlemen. February 4th draft. And we have received some information. Teresa, who was just leaving, she sent us a note, a letter of resignation from communications committees, that her obligations regrettably mean that she can no longer serve on that committee, so I think we need to adjust the schedule here. I did hear again from Lou Rose, who's very interested in the planning board position, and so we'll be forwarding to him all of our planning documents over the last 20 some odd years. Give him some reading material. And then afterwards we'll schedule a meeting with the chairperson, Sam Phelan. So are there any updates? Do you all have any updates, or shall we tackle this?
I do.
You do, great, thank
For
you,
the
Bill.
water district number one, I heard back from the remaining members, Mr. Gilnack, Mr. Carr, Mr. Fildes, and Mr. Bloomberg, who all expressed interest in staying on the board. I previously heard from Mr. Van Harries, and we, I think the last meeting voted to keep you the chair, so.
You weren't here, sorry.
That's what happens when you're not here.
Do you want those emails, Sue?
You got it.
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that would be, so as far as membership, the ones that are up are Lawrence Carr, Greg Files, Michael Roomberg, and they would be up for appointments, and Jerry Gilnack, as you mentioned, 2-year appointments ending in 2021. Would you like to make?
Jerry as a vice chair?
Yeah, I think we'll do that on a separate one, but Hank, you want to keep him as vice chair?
I think so.
Okay,
I'll have to talk to some of the others.
on that.
Jerry would not be interested in really chairing the committee.
Okay,
You know, he's technically very knowledgeable.
okay.
So I'll talk to a couple of the other guys and see if they're interested
In that,
in being the vice chair.
So just reappoint him to the committee for now.
yeah,
Now,
okay. So, Bill, would you like to make that motion to reappoint those 4 individuals with a term ending in 2021?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. So Hank, that begs the question, do you know who will be your heir apparent someday? I mean, I know you're good for another 20 years, so, but,
I know, but you don't know. Anyway, my choice would be Greg Files.
huh?
He's been on the water board since early to mid-90s,
Okay,
very bright. He's an engineer,
Okay.
really knows a lot of the history of the district as well as details of the operation. So he would be my choice. I asked him last year sometime, he wasn't ready to commit yet, but I'll check again.
okay. Well, we appreciate that, thank you, Hank. All right, anyone else have any updates they would like to share? Otherwise, we can tackle this some more on, at our second meeting of the month. And in answer to your question, Emily, we often go well into March by the time we finish with reappointments. It's a little bit like trying to put the pieces
puzzles,
where
pieces
they
together.
go. And same thing for you, Linda. Yours may even be more than March just because we have to reconstitute a whole committee. So just to try to set expectations accordingly. Okay. All right. If there are no other updates on reorganization, we can jump right into the water district rates. And Hank, I guess it would suffice to say that it's always a good idea to remind folks, especially folks who may not be aware of what is commonplace to pay for water in a water district,
I
just
think
how
many of them do
competitive we are.
But, yeah, I will mention it in the next newsletter.
You'll mention it in the next
Yeah.
Okay, terrific, yeah. And I think folks who do not receive water from the town of Red Hook Water District, would be very happy to have the rates that we have.
Just a thought. We had a number of ear reading problems, and we had a bunch of people with unusually high bills
Yeah.
for the fourth quarter. But New Paltz had it even worse. Did you read?
Yes, we read, in fact, I mentioned it earlier.
Mentioned it.
Yeah,
Sure.
what's happened there, it's very disconcerting. Protecting our water supply is critical.
Do they get their water out of the river there?
I think they're on wells.
They're on.
I think they have checked into looking into the aqueduct, but
There is a body of water, an open body of water that they're tapped into.
okay.
In fact, I saw a little clip of it where they went to the open body of water, a reporter went there from the local cable channel, and it was rumored to be, the petroleum smell was rumored to be emanating from this water body, and sure enough, she was standing there saying, you can sort of smell it, right there. It's very scary.
We're very vulnerable to water.
Yeah,
We need it.
Contamination.
This is something we can say, I won't pay it this month, I won't renew. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we have a resolution to approve the Water Board's recommendation. It would be resolution number
7.
7, lucky number 7, Hank, dated February 11th. That would then be 7/11. Approving water rates and charges for Water District Number 1, and that's been described in the public hearing notice, and I would so move. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then the third and last business of our very short meeting tonight is a resolution to award a contract. There were public bids taken for the last part of our comprehensive rec park construction projects. Much of this is ADA work, making everything from our restrooms ADA accessible to our snack bar, to having a water fountain that individuals who have physical challenges can use, to pathways to get to particular playgrounding equipment and through the park easily, to redo the fencing. If you're familiar with our north parking lot, the fencing is not at all accommodative, and so all of that work, much of which we received 2 grants towards, CDBG money, went out to bid. As the engineer described to us, unfortunately, it was a little more than we thought it was going to cost. And so we've been given a rather extensive summary document. The explanation we heard is that actually, because of the nature of the work, a lot of it has to be done by hand, even though there's already big equipment on site. That big equipment is not actually suitable for much of the work that needs to be done there. So they'll be doing things by wheelbarrow and smaller equipment as well. So you have all the documents, all the description of the bids, the companies, all the checks have been made, reference checks. In fact, John Kuhn knew the lowest bidding firm and got some references on his own as well. So we're optimistic that we'll have the work completed successfully. But it did cause us to go over, increase, the overage on the budget for the overall projects. That in conjunction with the change orders over the last year or so, much of which we've approved already. And we do have a change order here tonight, I should add. Don't know if that went in the packets or not. Well, did you get a copy of the change order in your packets? I know digitally I sent you that change order.
Yeah, it's all in these.
I don't see that Jackie's printed that out.
The summary sheet, Robert?
Yeah, these there.
Not the
Are
summary
you talking
sheet, maybe
this?
it's
Not this
attached to it. Maybe it's attached to it.
Well, there's
It
this.
didn't, yeah, that's just the summary
It
of
is,
everything
it's just
so
the
far.
summary and the contract
Mm.
stuff,
I
so.
didn't see it attached.
I'm going to, Jordan, we're gonna take a pause just for a minute, and I'm gonna go make some more copies, print out. Thank you all, apologies, and we'll have to run out and go make.
He has a history background.
Okay.
I see which committee you were gonna suggest.
She's soliciting me.
There you go.
Okay. I just had to print out the summary pages of the change order that the engineers sent over to us. The change orders reflect, as they often do, anytime we do a construction project where we have underground work. Good examples would be the parking lot here, the sidewalk that we did here on the east side. Once we open it up, we always find surprises, and we always have to deal with those surprises. So this change order deals with removal of dry wells that were discovered and infiltrator units that need to be relocated, rebar to the backstop footings, modification of the dugout pads, and a net positive on the removal of the storage building from the contract, because the Rec Commission now would like to wait and explore some other storage situation, because our storage building that we're leasing from the pool, that lease comes up soon, so they want to figure that in conjunction with whether or not the lease is going to be renewed, or should we ostensibly expand that building and put more storage over there, or should we expand our existing storage over by the now pickleball courts instead. So those are the proposed change orders. And so in conjunction with the change orders and the award, we also have a proposed budget adjustment. So the project now would be about 10% over. And so we would have to appropriate out of our fund balance, which is approximately $908,000. This figure of $246,500, leaving us still a healthy fund balance. So, any questions about the award letter and all the background information that they provided us? So the successful bidder, or the lowest responsible bid, is Thomas Gleason, and that total bid amount, including the alternates, is $326,250. All right, so a motion to approve resolution number 8, dated February 11th, 2020, authorizing the award of bid for the Town of Red Hook Recreation Park Phase 2 East Project to Thomas Gleason Incorporated. Base bid of $273,500 for the base bid plus the following alternates: 1, $17,500, 2, $8,750, 3, $26,500. Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And on the change order, I move to approve the change order number 1. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, on the proposed appropriation, $245,600, I move that we appropriate from the unreserved fund balance for the remainder of the project expenses. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we will entertain any other public comments before we close
Do correspondence.
the meeting. Oh, correspondence, yes, there is one piece of correspondence. Thank you for reminding me, Christine. DOT. I chuckled when I saw this notification that there's more enhanced mobility funding being provided, because it's been quite a journey to get the funding sources in place and get those vans secured. But yes, they notified us just 2 weeks ago that another $26 million is being appropriated. This is federal money for the folks at home that passes through Department of Transportation. And as we know, there's a great demand in our community to move people around, seniors and those with physical challenges of all ages. So that's an important notice. We heard from DOT on that. Anything else? I should tell you that at our next meeting, we will have John Penny here, and John will be talking to us about the census and helping the public with their expectations about what the process will be this year as the census continues in our community. Okay.
I have another in my correspondence file. You got some
Yes.
comments?
There are some comments from Bob and Angie Hahn right to us. They are speaking with regard to, Scenic Hudson has asked for input. As you know, Amtrak is going back to the drawing board and proposing some fencing along the Hudson River for safety reasons. And Scenic Hudson is organizing communities up and down the river, and the people who live in those communities to get input about how they access the river. And so we received some comments. Their letter talks about needing to actually have more access to the Hudson River and Red Hook. And so we appreciate their taking time. There will be some public meetings with Scenic Hudson, but also with representatives from Amtrak in either our community or more likely neighboring communities. Rhinebeck and Germantown have quite a bit of Hudson River access, and so they've been sort of coordinating a lot of those meetings. So.
Right. And we also have a local waterfront revitalization plan, which we have a committee that is actively looking at an update for that. So also good timing for us to be looking at access issues along the river.
Right. Okay. Very good. Any public comments ending before we close tonight's meeting?
She also has grant writing experience.
Careful,
I love
Emily.
her
See what
already.
happens. You just wanted to come in and.
These are fun meetings.
And
It's a
remind
great
us
way
that
to get
it's-
away from my husband.
Uh-oh, that's on TV now.
That's another location where you deal with those kinds
Yeah,
of issues.
exactly, right.
Okay, if not, thank you all for joining us tonight, and stay warm and dry, because it's not easy today. Thanks very much.